You were never born, and you'll never die. The veil of ordinary perception. Close your eyes, now, imagine this, the moment you think you were born, that first breath, that first cry, is not the beginning of you. It never was. What if the person you think you are, is only a mask? And what lies behind it, is ancient, eternal, untouched by time. You've been taught that you were born on a certain date, into a certain family, in a certain place. You were given a name, a role, a story. From that moment on, life began, or so you were told. But what if that's only a convenient illusion? What if your birth certificate is not proof of your existence, but proof of your forgetting? Since childhood, we are trained to identify with the body and the mind. You are this height, this weight, this nationality. You think certain thoughts, feel certain emotions. And so, you believe that you are this collection of fleeting sensations and ideas, wrapped in skin and bone. But let me ask you this, where were you before your first memory? Can you recall the moment of your arrival into this world? No, you cannot. Because there was no arrival. Not in the way you imagine. The ancient mystics, from the sages of India to the desert Gnostics, all whispered the same secret in different tongues. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are the awareness in which both appear and disappear. Think of your life like a movie projected onto a screen. You're watching the drama unfold, triumphs, heartbreaks, joy, despair. But have you ever noticed the screen itself? It's always there, silent, still, untouched by the chaos playing out upon it. You are that screen. Timeless. Formless. Ever-present. And here's the mystery, the moment you start to observe your thoughts instead of being lost in them, the illusion begins to crack. You begin to remember, faintly at first, that you were never really born, and you will never truly die. But be cautious. These truths are not for the faint of heart. To peel back the veil requires more than belief. It demands courage, curiosity, and a willingness to let go of everything you thought you were. In the next section, we'll explore how this illusion of being born was crafted, and how to begin unraveling it through ancient and practical techniques. The illusion of birth and the great forgetting. You did not come into this world, you came out of it, like a wave from the ocean. Alan Watts. Let us descend deeper. Imagine a mirror that reflects the entire universe, stars, planets, mountains, people. But over time, layer upon layer of dust settles on its surface. Eventually, the mirror forgets that it is a mirror. It begins to believe it is the dust. This is what happened to you. The moment we entered the physical plane, something was taken from our conscious awareness. Not by accident, but by design. The veil was drawn. And from that moment, we began to believe in the illusion of separation. In ancient Vedic teachings, this moment is called Maya, the grand illusion, the cosmic hypnosis. It's not evil. It's not punishment. It is the mechanism by which spirit experiences itself in form. Consciousness pretending to be a person. And so, at birth, the soul forgets. You forget that you are the dreamer of the dream, and you mistake yourself for a character within it. The Upanishads tell us that the self, Atman, is unborn, undying, and indivisible. It is like space, it cannot be cut, burned, or broken. But when that self associates with a body, with memory, with a name, it falls under the spell of time. That spell is the great forgetting. It is why a child, pure and free, gradually becomes limited by words like mine and me. It is why we cling to roles, mother, worker, student, as if they were our true essence. We forget the actor, and become the mask. But some remember. The Sufis call it fana, the dissolving of the false self into the eternal. The Buddhists speak of anatta, the realization that there is no fixed self to begin with. Even early Christian mystics whispered of a light before the world, a presence that knew no origin. They all point to the same truth. You were never born. You simply began to dream that you were. The body is the vessel. The soul is the traveler. And the self is the ocean itself, vast, still, eternal. But how do we begin to remember? In the next section, we will explore a sacred inner practice, an ancient technique that can help you peel away the layers of illusion and glimpse the truth beyond the dust-covered mirror. A technique to remember your true self. Knock, and the door will be opened. But first, you must be silent enough to hear where it is. The journey back to your true nature is not a path of adding more. It is a path of subtraction, of unlearning, unmasking, and unbinding. And for that, we must return to silence. Let me guide you into a practice that has been whispered through monasteries, forest huts, desert caves. A technique not of belief, but of direct experience. It is called self-inquiry, and its essence lies in a single question. Who am I? Sit still. Let the world pause for a moment. Breathe gently. Now, ask yourself, not as a mental game, but as a sacred invocation. Who is experiencing this breath? Don't answer it with words. Just notice. Let the question echo, not in your head, but in the space behind your thoughts. Observe whatever arises. A thought? Let it pass. A sensation? Let it dissolve. Keep coming back. Who is aware of this thought? Who is watching this body breathe? At first, it may feel like staring into a vast, dark space. No answers, only silence. But stay there. Beneath the noise of the mind, something begins to stir. A presence, not made of words or ideas, but of pure awareness. It has no shape, no age, no location. It is not male or female, young or old. And yet, it feels more you than anything you've ever known. That is the beginning. This practice, when done daily, gently dissolves the false layers. You begin to see that thoughts are like clouds, but you are the sky. That emotions rise and fall, but you remain, untouched. Eventually, you will look at the story of your life like a dream from last night. Vivid, meaningful even, but no longer mistaken for reality. And here is where the mystery deepens. The more you rest in the question who am I, the more the one who is asking, begins to disappear. Because the final answer is not a word. It is not even an experience. It is the disappearance of the questioner. And in that disappearance, you see it. You were never born. You will never die. You simply are. In the next section, we will journey even further, to explore the implications of this realization on life, death, and what lies beyond the veil we call reality. What happens when you truly realize this? When the wave remembers it is the ocean, it no longer fears the shore. To glimpse your true nature, even for a moment, is to feel the foundations of your old identity begin to tremble. Everything you once feared begins to fade. Everything you once chased begins to lose its urgency. Because the game has changed. You no longer see yourself as the fleeting form that walks through time, but as the timeless field in which form arises. Life no longer happens to you. Life happens within you. This realization is not an escape from the world. In fact, it draws you more deeply into the present than ever before. But now, you walk with a different knowing. That nothing can be lost, because nothing was ever truly separate. You become like the awakened dreamer, moving through the dream with love and clarity, but no longer imprisoned by it. The fear of death. It falls away. Because how can what never began ever come to an end? You may still feel sadness, pain, joy, but they pass through you like weather through open sky. You experience them fully, without resistance, and then let them go. And more than anything, a deep compassion begins to bloom. Because now, you see it in others too. Their struggle. Their confusion. Their search. You recognize the same self, wearing different faces, caught in different dreams. And so, you move through the world not with judgment, but with a quiet smile. Like someone who's woken up early, while others still sleep. You live simply. Speak truthfully. Love fully. And yet, no longer grasping, no longer fearing. Because you know. You were never the wave. You were always the ocean. In the final section, we will reflect on how to live from this realization, practically, beautifully, and fully, so you don't just understand this truth, but embody it, moment by sacred moment. Living as the unborn, dying into life. To die before you die, is to truly live. Ancient Sufi saying. Now that you've seen through the veil, even just a little, the question becomes, how do you live from this place? How do you move through a world of change while rooted in the changeless? The answer is not in escaping life, but in meeting it fully, with open eyes and an open heart. To live as the unborn is to know that nothing in this world can truly define you. Not your success. Not your failure. Not your status or past or future. You wear these things like garments, useful, sometimes beautiful, but never mistaken for your skin. Every morning becomes a rebirth. Every moment, a fresh beginning. Because the self you really are was never bound to yesterday. This allows you to love more deeply, because you are no longer loving from need or lack, but from fullness. You give, not to gain, but because you overflow. And when loss comes, and it will, you grieve, yes, but you don't shatter. Because you are not the clay pot. You are the space within it. And here's a paradox, when you live from the awareness of your eternal nature, life becomes more precious, not less. The smell of rain. The laughter of a child. The weight of silence at dusk. You savor these not as possessions, but as sacred dances on the surface of being. You begin to die, not in a morbid sense, but to the false, to the noisy, to the unnecessary. You die to the ego. Die to fear. Die to the illusion of control. And in that death, you are finally, fully alive. This is not philosophy. This is practice. It is choosing presence over distraction. Truth over comfort. Silence over noise. Over and over, until it is no longer a choice, but your natural way of being. Here's something simple, yet powerful. Each morning, before you rise, say softly to yourself. I was never born. I cannot die. I am awareness, watching the dream. Let this remembrance be your anchor. And when fear arises, when life shakes you, return to this. Who is aware of this moment? Not as a riddle, but as a gateway. Because the one who watches, the silent witness behind your eyes, has never been touched by time. It was here before your first breath. It will remain after your last. You were never born. You'll never die. You simply are. Now, live from that truth. If this truth stirred something ancient within you, then you are ready. Subscribe to the Temple of Hidden Keys and unlock the wisdom waiting in silence. Like this video to keep the keys turning, and remember, some doors only open from the inside.